4105 Chumsayer and 4103 Chumster are operating East Coast Heritage Rail's Kandos Explorer to, well, Kandos. In this film, we follow the 60s built rocking horses to their destination and back again in 2024 before undertaking a similar chase around 12 months later. Let's go! Clandulla Station opened in 1884 under the name Ilford, even though that town was 8 miles away and the village it's actually in was named Calwell. Both the village and the station serving it were named Clandulla in 1905. The station remained open until the 1980s when Lithgow to Mudgee passenger services were replaced by road coaches. The name is that of a local parish, but beyond that is a bit uncertain. Colleen O'Sullivan theorises it may be from the McLean family, local landowners prominent in the Capertee to Clandulla area who named it after the Clandulla bagpipers of Scotland. Right enough, I've butchered the pronunciation. That is just a theory, but has credence. The train shunts into push-pull formation here, owing to there being no facilities to do so at Kandos, and thus a locomotive on each end being required. A similar manoeuvre would be performed on the return run. We don't see this. The railway opened through here in 1884 when it was extended from Capertee to Mudgee, but at that time, Kandos, the town, did not exist. It would appear in July 1913 when the land was subdivided by Surveyor James Dawson at the commission of James Angus, the chairman of the New South Wales Cement, Lime and Coal Company. The name Kandos is derived from the initial board of directors' initials: Campbell, Angus, Noyes, MacDonald, Oakton and Stephen. However, the result, Kandos with a C, was deemed too similar to Chandos in South Australia, so it was altered slightly to Kandos with a K, as today. The cement works opened in 1914 and supplied the cement for many buildings around New South Wales, up to and including the Sydney Harbour Bridge's pylons. The station also dates from this period, a good 30 years after the railway first reached here. The cement works at Kandos were long-time rivals with the Portland cement works further south, also served by the Gwabegar Line, and operated right up to their closure in 2011. Nowadays then, apart from heritage trains like today's, the only operations on this part of the Gwabegar Line are coal trains to and from Airlie. So to see one, let's go back the way we came. Capertee Station opened in 1882 when the line reached here from Wallerawang, and serves as the line's terminus until the extension to Mudgee, including through the as yet unbuilt Kandos, opened 2 years later. The station building is the original from that opening day, and a run-round siding previously existed on the downside of the line. Also previously existing was a water tank south of the station and the yard north of it, consisting of 3 sidings, a goods shed, weighbridge and stockyard. All these, as well as the one-time wooden fence lining the platform, have gone the way of the dodo, leaving just the 1882 station building, now unused, and the station master's house, previously an Airbnb, I've actually stayed in it, but now privately owned. The name is a corruption of Capita, the name of a stock station established in the nearby Capertee Valley in the 1830s by Sir James Jamison. As with Clandulla, passenger trains ceased calling here in the 1980s, but unlike Clandulla, Capertee is south of Airlie, so freight trains still pass. There's one. And there's another one. Wallerawang Station opened in 1870 under the name Mudgee Road. It would receive its present name, a Wiradjuri word meaning place near wood and water, water over rocks, or plenty of water, one of those three, in 1873. The station became a junction with the Gwabegar Line's opening as far as Capertee in 1882, and it's from this period that the crane and the goods shed date. The main building is from 1870, whilst the signal boxes, there's another one a bit further west, are from 1915. The station closed in 1989, but is slated to reopen in 2026. These shots predate any significant work being done for this. At the time, trains passed through non-stop. Like this one. (4105) Chumsayer and (4103) Chumster both belong to the 421 class of Bulldog diesel engines. 10 of these EMD-powered locomotives with two-stroke V16 engines were built by Clyde Engineering in Cranville between 1965 and 1966, using the design for the GM, S and notably 42 class as a basis. However, uniquely for Bulldog engines in the world, the 421s feature a fully functional cab in their flat number 2 end. 03 and 05 both date from 1966 and entered service exactly a month apart, 03 on 15th of February and 05 on 15th of March. Originally entering service on the main south, the class were later transferred to Lithgow for main west work in 1970, including the then new Indian Pacific, so 03 and 05 would have been regulars here. However, they were returned to the south not long after, owing to poor ride quality, which earned them the nickname Rocking Horses. Throughout their careers, the 421s saw use on freight trains, including through to Melbourne in the early 80s, and passenger services, including on the south coast of Bomaderry. Withdrawals began in 1986 and finished in 1987, although one locomotive, not sure which, would return at the end of the decade. And after this, ownership of the engines was split up. 4 of the 421s, including 03 and 05, were purchased by Northern Rivers Railroad in the 1990s to work trains between Murwillumbah and Casino. This subsequently became part of Horizon, who would use the engines on various trains along the eastern seaboard until withdrawing them in the late noughties or early 10s. 4 of the locomotives have now been preserved, with a 5th, 4102, stored out of use. The remainder was scrapped. 4101 in the class's original Indian Red livery and 4107 in PTC reverse are privately owned, seeing frequent use on heritage trains including the Vintage Rail Journeys tours. 4103 and 4105 were purchased in late 2017 by Chumrail. Shortly after, 4103 was repainted to SRA Candy livery and gained its name, being put to work on heritage trains and the odd freight or maintenance service. 4105 would join Chumster in 2023, still wearing its NRR rainbow livery, albeit with new logos. Its name, Chumsayer, references the person who did most of its restoration work. And with our historical interlude complete, it's time for 2025's run. Charbon previously had a station of its own, opening in 1927, but later closing, probably in the 80s, and being demolished. The colliery, which dominates the small township, remained in operation until 2015. Seemingly reflecting this, the name Charbon is the French word for coal. You may have noticed by now that 42103 has a second name on its number 2 end cab, Gregory Ronald Cohen. This is after a driver who was a great friend to many, including Chumster's owners, who sadly passed away not long ago. A true chum.